Welcome to Ready Lesson 5 for 8th grade on analyzing categories. Let's go ahead and jump into part 3. So it says continue reading the article about phone technology. Use the closed reading the hint to help you answer the question. Before you decide which type of phone to buy, ask yourself what you want your phone to do. Think carefully about what phone features and functions are most important to you in your daily life. Both analog and digital send and receive calls from anywhere in the world, but if you need a phone that's reliable and produces a richer sound, get an analog phone. If you're interested in a device with more functionality, you'll need a smarter phone. Digital smartphones can run applications such as email, internet, and GPS. So let's look at the close read. It says, what are the similarities and distinctions between the two types of phones? Label the analog's characteristics with an A and the digital phone's characteristics with a D. So let's go ahead and take our typing tool and let's go ahead and start labeling. So if I notice, most of this information is going to be in the second paragraph. So it says both analog and digital send and receive calls from anywhere in the world. So I can see here this is going to be both A and D. So I'm going to go ahead and put A and D with a comma for this first sentence. The next part says, but if you need a phone that's reliable and produces a richer sound, get an analog phone. So I'm noticing that anything that is reliable and produces a rich sound is an analog phone. It says if you're interested in a device with more functionality, you'll get a smarter phone. So when I'm looking for more functionality, I'm going to go for a smarter phone or a smart digital phone. And then finally it says digital smartphones can run applications such as email, internet, and GPS. So I can see here that running applications would be a digital phone. Okay, now that we've done that, let's look at the question. It says, how does the text categorize the information about the two phones? A says the text categorizes the accessories you can add on later. B says the text categorizes the apps that make smartphones attractive. C says the text categorizes the type of users who would be interested in the phones. And D says the text categorizes the features and functions of the phones. Well, in this case, the best answer choice would be D. The text categorizes the features and functions of the phones. The author is clearly making distinctions between the phones by categorizing them into their features and functions. A is incorrect because the text does not say anything about accessories. B is incorrect because the text gives examples of applications but does not categorize them. And C is incorrect because the text refers to one type of user, which is a user who wants more functionality from his or her phone, but it does not categorize the types of users. And so therefore, our best answer choice would be D. Let's move on to the bottom. It says, look at the answer choice above. Explain how you used the characteristics you coded in the article to decipher how the information was categorized. So, the information was categorized by function. And for example, send and receive calls, something that's reliable or produces richer sound, something that's functional, running applications. So, I'm going to be putting that into my answer. So, article discusses the functionality. Oops, I just realized I'm in all caps. My bad. The article discusses the functionality in or of phones in paragraph 2. Yes. And then it wants us to go ahead and explain how I was able to decipher that. Functionality means what a product can do. By listing what the phones can do, it is clear that the article is organized by function. Okay? Let me go ahead and space this out a little bit for you so you can see it better. And put it on the line. There we go. Okay, now let's move on to part 4. It says, read the biography, use a study buddy in the close read to guide your reading. So, high-tech runner. The study buddy says authors often categorize details in order to give structure to a text. I'll look to see how this author uses categories to tell the story of Jamie Goldman. Jamie Goldman was only 19 when it happened. In December of 1987, she and her friend Lisa were driving home to Arizona from a ski trip in New Mexico when their car slid in a snowbank and stranded them in the middle of nowhere. The roads were closed due to a snowstorm and the girls were given up as lost. They survived in the freezing temperatures for 11 days with only a cinnamon roll and melted snow to keep them alive. A man and his son who were out riding their snowmobiles eventually discovered their car. The girls were rushed to the hospital, but frostbite had set into Jamie's extremities, meaning that her feet had contracted gangrene, and the doctors had no choice but to amputate both of her legs below the knee. Despite these tragedies, Jamie refused to give in to depression. Her main source of inspiration was her grandfather, Poppy. He urged her to always make the most out of life, no matter what, and when he passed away, she vowed to do just that. But how? After watching the 1996 Paralympic Games, a sporting event where all the athletes have physical disabilities, she decided to become a runner. A new type of prosthetic technology helped her do just that. She was fitted for new limbs made from carbon fibers in the shape of a J cheetah legs, they were called. With training and her new legs, Jamie competed as part of the 1997 to 2000 Olympic Paralympic track and field team, setting world records and winning several gold medals. She is also the only amputee in her class to complete a half marathon. Today, Jamie is an author, mother, teacher, motivational speaker, and still a world-class athlete. She inspires others to rise above the tragedies in their lives, just as Poppy had inspired her. So let's look at the close read. It says, what made Jamie decide to take charge of her life after her accident? Underline her biggest inspirations. So I'm going to go ahead and take my underlining tool. And I can see in paragraph 3 that her biggest inspiration is clearly her grandfather, Poppy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline that. Another inspiration that we can see in paragraph 3 is that she had watched the 1996 Paralympic Games, and that inspired her to want to participate in those games. Now looking again, it says closed readers can help reveal connections between events and ideas in a text. Circle the details that prove that Jamie overcame her tragedy. So, looking at paragraph 4, it says that she had set world records and that she had won several gold medals. It also says that she became a world-class athlete. These are definitely details that prove that Jamie overcame her tragedy. Okay, so let's move on. So go ahead and answer 1 through 3 on your own, and then come back to go for the answers. I'll give you some time. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's go over the answers. It says, use the hints on this page to help you answer the questions. Which events would not be included in the category events that inspired Jamie to change her life? Is it A, Jamie took a vow after her grandfather passed away? B, Jamie watched the 1996 Paralympic Games? C, a man and his son eventually found Jamie's car? Or D, Poppy urged her to make the most of life? The answer choice that you should have selected was C. A man and his son who saved Jamie did not inspire her to change her life. Choices A and D are incorrect. Jamie's grandfather inspired her to overcome her tragedy. Choice B is incorrect because the 1996 Paralympics is what inspired Jamie. Okay, let's look at number 2. What is the connection among all of the details in paragraph 4? Is it A, the details show all of the problems and challenges that Jamie had to overcome? Is it B, the details all help explain how Jamie achieved her goal of becoming a runner? C, the details show the importance of the Paralympic Games? Or D, the details illustrate how Jamie's cheetah legs work? The answer that you should have chosen was B. The details explain how technology enabled Jamie to become a runner. Choices A, C, and D do not describe the connection between these details. Now let's look at the last question. It says, explain how you would categorize the details in this biography and how they give a structure to Jamie's story. use at least 3 details from the text to support your response. So let me go ahead and type in an example answer for you. The text details are grouped into a structure that follows the chronological order, oops, I spelled that wrong, chronological order of her story. The first set of details all relate to her accident and the amputation of her legs. The next set of details relates to the category of sources for her inspiration to become a runner. The next group of details describes how technology enabled her to succeed as a runner on the U.S. Paralympic track and field team. And then the final set of details describes how she works to inspire others. Okay, hopefully now you understand how to analyze categories. Go ahead and complete part 5, Cool Jobs, Wide World of Robots, on your own independently, answering questions 1 through 4 at the end.